Okay. So good afternoon, friends. In today's session, we'll talk on the linear models for the classification. So the name of this unit is machine learning classification, the different classification algorithm, how classification achieves. So as a part of this classification, what are the different linear models? So linear models, they are also referred as the geometrical models, geometrical machine learning model. Am I audible to all? Anybody can unmute and please let me know whether I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as a part of linear models, the first model that we are going to discuss today is the perceptron uh, classification algorithm or perceptron machine learning model. So there are other linear models, which is support vector machine SVM, and there are two different instances of support vector machine: soft support vector machine and hard support vector machine. So, and after that, we'll also see the kernel methods for uh, non-linearly separable data. So how the classification will be achieved for the data which is non-linearly separable. Well, friends, we know that in binary classification problem, the input instances, it can be of two types only. Okay, so the instance, it either belongs to the positive class or to the negative class. So in binary classification, a data is said to be linearly separable if there exists a linear decision boundary to separate the data into two classes. Okay, now the example of this is shown here. You can see this decision boundary, it separates these instances into two classes. So these instances are belongs to the negative class and these instances are belong to positive class. Okay, so we can say that the data set or these instances, they are linearly separable because we can have such decision boundary which performs the correct classification of these instances into positive class and negative class. But this is not the end of this story. Every data is not linearly separable. We cannot guarantee that the data set that is being given to us is itself a linearly separable data. Many times it happens that the data set on which we are working, it may not be linearly separable. So the example of this kind of data set is this. So here in this slide, you can see this data is not linearly separable. You cannot have any classifier which performs the classification of these instances. So many of these classifiers, they have been shown here. This is one classifier, this is another classifier, this is another classifier, this is one, this one, and this one. Yes, any problem in audio? Okay. So none of these classifier can classify these four input instances into its corresponding class. So these lines, they represent the different classifier, but none of this classifier or the decision boundary can linearly separate this data into two classes. Now such data is caused as linearly non-separable data. So this kind of data, we will call them as linearly non-separable data. We cannot separate, we cannot perform the classification of this type of data. Well, now it is ideally expected that if the data is linearly separable, then we should design a linear classifier to separate or that performs the classification of the given input instances into two classes. Now consider these two data in this figure. And let's assume that we have been using a least square method for classification applied to this problem. So these are the two different instances. These instances belong to positive class, this instances belongs to negative class, and this is a decision boundary. Now, how would I achieve this decision boundary? So this decision boundary, to achieve this decision boundary, we have used this least square method. Okay, we know that what is the least square method. Least square method, it tries to reduce the error of each of these instances, okay, from the decision boundary. Well, that is what the least square error method, okay, which is used to perform the classification of given input instances. So if I want to mathematically represent this least square error method, this is basically a linear regression model, and we know that mathematically the linear regression model, it is represented as y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 into xi. So xi is the input instance space. So let's say that we have three input instances, x1, x2, and x3. And the class of these instances are y1, y2, and y3. Well, so what we will do is, we know the value of beta 0 and beta 1 that will be given to us, or suppose we need to find out it. Let us, for time being, we just assume that the value of beta 0 and beta 1 is given to us. We have to just put the value of each of these instances in this formula, and we get the corresponding output value for each of these instances, x1, x2, and x3. And we are assuming that y1, it is the output value for x1, y2 is the output value for x2, and y3 is the output value for x3. And we have achieved this using this formula. Now, what is this formula represents? So here beta 0, it represents the line, the decision boundary, which intercepts the point at which this decision boundary intercepts this y-axis. Whereas this is my beta 0, whereas the slope of this line, it represents the beta 1. Okay, and we know what is the equation of line. So it is actually a representation of a line mathematically. So y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 into x. Somehow we have represented the line using mathematical equations, right? So now if this is the case, then how do I perform the classification of these instances? So what I am doing is, if the value of any instance, if the output value of any instance, that is this value, if it is greater than equal to 0, then I will classify this instance, that instance, to positive class. If the value of this equation, beta 0 plus beta 1 into some xi, if it is less than 0, then I will classify that instance to negative class. Okay, so this decision boundary by least square classification, it is a line with an equation y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 into xi. Okay, so beta 0, it represents the point at which this decision boundary intercepts the y-axis, and the slope of this decision boundary is represented by b1. So now the main drawback of this least square classification is that it may not find the linear classifier decision boundary to separate the data into two classes, even if a linear decision boundary is exist. Okay, now how is that possible, or how we can visualize it? So to violate, or to pertinent to this statement, let us consider the additional data point in this figure. So we'll introduce a new data point in the previous figure. Let us consider that this data point we have introduced in the previous figure, and after introducing this data instance or data point, the least square classification method will misclassify it, that is shown here. Okay, so if I introduce this point, then we can easily observe that this is our previous linear classifier, or we can call it as a least square classifier, LSR. Okay, so LSR will misclassify this point as the negative class instance. But looking at this point, we can easily say that this point is actually belongs to positive class. Okay, so now what we do is, when additional point was misclassified, then least square classifier, it tries to classify this misclassified point correctly. But doing so again, okay, so what least square classifier has done? Least square classifier has changed its decision boundary, and this is now the newly constructed new LSR classifier. Okay, now if I introduce one more point at this point, then this least square classifier will misclassify this point. Okay, so physically when you look at this point, we can say that this point is actually belongs to negative class, but this newly constructed LSR decision boundary classify this point to the positive class. Okay, so again, this newly constructed least square decision boundary results into a misclassification. So therefore, a classifier is required which can actually adjust the value of beta to avoid these situations. So whenever the data is linearly separable, then the expected characteristic of a classifier is that classifier must always linearly separates or classifies the input instances into two classes. Okay, so the classifier which we are going to implement, or which we are going to construct for a linearly separable data, is called as perceptron. Okay, so what is perceptron? Perceptron is a classifier which actually has the ability or the potential to update its coefficient vector or a weight vector beta. So beta's coefficients are beta 0 and beta 1. These are the two coefficient for this coefficient vector beta. So beta is represented as beta 0 plus beta 1. So these are actually two coefficients of this weight vector beta, or you can call it as a coefficient vector beta. So beta can be calculated, it can be called as the coefficient vector or weight vector. Okay, and it is represented as beta 0 plus beta 1. Well, so what is perceptron that we were discussing? So perceptron is a linear classifier, okay, which actually performs the classification of linearly separable data, and which has the ability or the potential to update its weight vector or coefficient vector. So let's go to the next. So in which situation the perceptron classifiers are used? So perceptron classifiers are used in a situation when the data is linearly separable and the target or our objective is to construct a linear classifier. So in certain situation, the perceptron is used. Perceptron is, don't get confused, perceptron is the name of linear classifier who has the ability or potential to update its weight vector or coefficient vector. So perceptron is a basic classifier which separates the data if it is linearly separable using some decision boundary. So for simplicity, let us assume that in binary classification we have two classes. One is positive class and other is negative class. Then perceptron, it observes the classification or misclassification of these input instances, training input instances. If the misclassification is occur, then it adjusts its weight or coefficient vector beta using some perceptron learning rule. Okay, so how the perceptron update its weight vector or the coefficient vector beta, that is what the next point of discussion. So to update the weight vector, we need to use some perceptron learning rule. Okay, so perceptron learning rule, it enables your perceptron to correctly classify misclassified instances. जो भी instances misclassify हो गए हैं, उसको हम क्या करेंगे, वेट वेक्टर को अपडेट करेंगे यूजिंग सम परसेप्ट्रॉन लर्निंग rule, and then we get a new decision boundary, and that decision boundary, that linear classifier will perform the correct classification of misclassified points. So if some point X is misclassified as a member of, say, negative class, but the actual class is belong to positive. So what it means? Our classifier, our linear classifier has predicted the Xi to negative class. So this is misclassification. What is the actual class of this Xi? The actual class of Xi is positive class. So how do we represent it mathematically? So misclassification means what? The value of this equation, it is less than 0, what is predicted by our classifier. Let's say that LSR. Okay, but the actual value, if you put the actual value of this Xi into this, the actual value is greater than 0, that is positive. Okay, so whenever the calculation of this left hand side, if it is greater than 0, then we'll perform the classification of that instance to positive class, greater than equal to 0. Okay, and if it is less than, then we'll perform that, we will classify that instance to the negative class. So how perceptron updates the weight? So as I mentioned, the perceptron, it uses the perceptron learning rule to update the weight vector. So what is the learning parameter? So the learning parameter n is eta is called as learning parameter. So how the weight will be updated for the instance which is misclassified to the negative class? So what we are going to do is we are going to increase the weight of beta, that is coefficient vector beta or weight vector beta. So it is represented as beta dash is equal to beta dash represents what? Beta dash is the updated weight. This is my updated weight. Okay, so beta dash is equal to beta plus, we are going to increase the weight n into xi, whereas the value of this eta, it always lies between 0 to 1. Okay, and this eta, or simply you can call it as n, it is called as learning parameter. Okay, so if the positive class instance is misclassified, then we update the weight in this way, we increase the weight. If a negative class instance is misclassified, that means xi is misclassified to positive class, but it is actually belong to negative class. So what it means? The value of this equation is greater than equal to 0, but the actual value of this equation or this instance is less than 0. In that case, we are going to reduce the weight vector beta by using some perceptron learning rule like this. So here we are going to reduce the weight. So beta dash is the updated weight, and it is calculated as beta minus n is my learning parameter, whose value lies between 0 to 1 into xi. Xi is the input instance, which is misclassified. So xi is misclassified, and now after updating the weight vector, we are trying to classify this xi correctly. So n is the learning rate, and it is always assumed to have the value in between 0 to 1. So when n is equal to 0, when you take the value of learning parameter n to be 0, then perceptron, it behaves as a least square classifier. There is no point in taking learning parameter n in such case. Otherwise, the weight of this, or the coefficient vector or the weight vector's weight will not be updated. ये weight update नहीं होगा if we take value of n to be 0. So perceptron is most suitably turned into online algorithm because it has the potential to change or adjust the weight or coefficient vector beta when new data points are received. Okay, so let's go to the next. Now Before I start this perceptron learning algorithm, I just want to take few questions so that we can proceed further. So any questions? Otherwise, I will go to the perceptron learning algorithm. So what is perceptron? In which case the perceptron is applicable? Perceptron classifiers are applicable. Can anybody unmute the mic and tell me? Anyone? My first question is, what is linearly separable data set? What is linearly separable data? Can anybody answer? What is linearly separable data? Am I audible to all? Rohit Khernar, unmute your mic. Abhishek Morankar, unmute your mic and tell me what is linearly separable data. Okay, few questions arrived, few answers arrived, but these are, the repeated students who answers. I want the answer from all the students. Akanksha Gavle, Abhishek Morankar, unmute your mic. I think they are not online. Other students, Anuja Karpe, Anushri Jawar. Yeah, right. All of you are right. You understood this. Whoever has answered this question. What about the rest of the students? Chandan Wagh, Chetan Kumbar, Devesh Gujrati, Dhanali. Answer. Answer this question. Madhuri Sanap, Ovesh Shah. Yes, right. See, Abhishek Morankar, you might not be online. What I have asked is, what is linearly separable data? You are giving the answer as the question. Okay, so all of you are right. You are just do not copy and paste the answer because this chat box, It provides you the facility to copy the answer and then paste it. Okay, anyway. So so all of you are right. So a data which is separable or which can be separated by using a decision boundary classifier is known as linearly separable data set. So now my question is, in which condition the perceptron is used? My next question is, under which circumstances perceptron classifier is used? So any guess? See, least square regression or LSR, least square classifier, it is, Bhumika, it is one kind of linear classifier. No, 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 no. Snehal Sarude has given the answer that non-linearly separable data set. No, that's not. We cannot use any classifier for non-linearly separable data set. So kernel method will give you the solution for this problem. So how we can deal with the non-linearly separable data set? The answer is the kernel method. So we supposed to use the kernel methods to deal with the non-linearly separable data set. So what kernel method does actually, it transform this non-linearly separable data set into a separable data set, and then we apply the support vector machine simply. Okay, so that is basically the kernel methods. But non-linearly separable data set, for this non-linearly separable data set, we never use the perceptron. Yes. So a simple question is, when your data is linearly separable, you can apply the perceptron classifier. Okay. Yes, both of you are right. Vedant, you are also right partially, and OS, you are also right partially. So we used to predict the class of the sample data, but which data? The data which is linearly separable. I can use perceptron learning only for linearly separable data set. That's it. So now we'll see how this perceptron algorithm works. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation mode and we'll start again. Okay, so here you can see now the algorithm for perceptron learning, which actually performs the binary classification. Okay. So what input we require? We require a training data instances, which is represented as T. Then each training instance I has a feature vector xi and the label or the class of xi, that is yi. So how would I represent it? Let's say that you have three instances, x1, x2, x3, and you decided to have two features, that is f1 and f2. So my feature matrix will look like this, and this is yi. Okay, so x11 represents what? First instance having first value. Okay, value for the first feature for the first instance. Similarly, x12 value of the second feature for the first instance, and y1, it is the output of the first instance x1. Similarly, x21, it represents the value of the first feature for the second instance, x22 and y2. Similarly x31, x32 and y3. So this is what mentioned here. So a feature vector of xi. So this is the feature vector for the xi, and the size of xi is capital T, that is mentioned here. N or eta is the learning parameter, and we have assumed that the value of eta is always lies between 0 to 1. Okay, so this is the input that we have, and what output we are predicting. So weights beta for which y cap is what? Y cap is the predicted class of some input instance X. This is prediction and this is actual value. Okay, so weights beta for which the predicted value of Y, if it is equal to Y, that means the classification is correct. There is no misclassification or there is no error in the classification of the given input instances. But if these values, if Y cap is not equal to Y, that means it results into some error or some misclassification of instances took place. Okay, now what are the parameters that we are going to use as a part of this algorithm will be the beta, that is the weight vector. It is also called as the coefficient vector. Eta is the learning parameter. T is the training data set size of your training data set. Sorry, T is represented as training data set, and this vector of T, it represents the number of element or the size of T. Okay, and we are also going to use some concept called converge. Now converge is what? Converge is a Boolean variable that indicates whether the weight needs to be updated or not. Remember, so the meaning of converge needs to be understood. Okay, otherwise you will lose the essence of this entire algorithm. Converge is a Boolean variable which we are using to indicate whether we need to update the weight or not. In which case we need to update the weight. Can anybody unmute the mic because I am in presentation mode? When the weight needs to be updated? Hello? Can I hear the answer from anyone? Unmute your mic. When the weight of perceptron needs to be updated. Any guess?
When the actual and predicted outcomes become varied.
Okay, that means when misclassification appears, okay, whenever error occur or if a misclassification took place, okay, by the perceptron, then we need to update the weight. I'll just go back and I will tell you what we have done. What we did, so this previous classifier, it misclassifies this point. So what we did, we updated the weight vector of this dotted decision boundary, and we have drawn this new decision boundary. And again, after introducing this new instance, again we came to know that yes, there is a misclassification of this instance. And can anybody tell me what would be the possible decision boundary in order to correctly classify this decision boundary, this point? So the next possible decision boundary could be like this, okay, which actually correctly classifies this point as well as this point. Okay, so we are updating the weight every time the instance get misclassified, and whenever the instance get misclassified, we need to update the weight of perceptron. So ideally we update the weight of perceptron whenever the instance, a training instance, get misclassified. Okay, and whether this weight updation is needed or not, that means one indicates, let's say that one indicates that weight needs to be updated and 0 indicates that weight do not needs to be updated because the instances are correctly classified. Okay, that is what we are going to see. So the key idea is set beta or the weight vector to 0. Keep on iterating as long as no convergence. Inside it, adjust the weight if some training data point, some training instance is misclassified by following the learning loop. So we know what is the perceptron learning rule. If the positive class instance is misclassified, then we update the weight vector beta dash as beta plus n into xi, where eta is the learning parameter whose values ranges from 0 to 1. Okay, so we are increasing the weight vector. If the negative class instance is misclassified, then we reduce the weight. So beta minus n into xi, where n again lies between 0 to 1. Okay, so these are the learning rules that we follow. So this learning rule is used for misclassification of positive class instance, and this learning rule is used for the misclassification of negative class instance. अगर negative class का instance का misclassification हुआ है तो ये यूज करना है आपको, ये learning rule, और positive class के instance के misclassification के लिए ये यूज करना है. So that's it. Now we'll go to the algorithm, because the algorithm is very little. So I'll just go fast. As we have just mentioned in the key idea, that is initialize the weights to 0. So beta is set to 0. And initially we are setting the value of our converge variable, this Boolean variable, to false. So false means what? 0. We know that. So 0 means we do not need to update the weight vectors. When converge is true, that means we need to update the weight beta. Okay, so we have set this value of converge to false with the intention that weight must be updated after checking the misclassification of each data point, because still there exists some misclassified instances, or perfect binary classification is not yet done. Okay, in which case we have seen that after 2 misclassification of dotted line and then the solid black line, a solid red line, we have constructed the third classifier, which classified both the newly introduced instances, positive class instance and negative class instance. Okay, so converge is set to false. Let's go to the step 3. Use the while loop. While converge is equal to false, do these 2 steps in the bracket. The step 3.1 is, let's assume that there is no need to update the weights because all the data points might have classified correctly. Otherwise, else adjust the weight. To adjust the weight, we need to change the value of this Boolean variable converge. So we are setting it to true, and we are assuming that if some misclassification occurs, then we set that value to true. In 3.2, for I is equal to 1 to t, do. So t, it represents the size of our test data set. You can also call it as 1 to size of data set. So vector t, it represents that. Do this, and we are considering that if yi dot beta dot xi, if it is less than 0, detect the misclassification of instance xi. What it means? This is actually belong, this xi is actually belong to positive class, but our classifier has predicted it to the negative class. Okay, so using learning rule for the positive class, we have updated the weight. Beta is equal to beta plus n into yi into xi, and again we'll set the converge, the value of this Boolean variable, to 0, that is false. Now this is the case for positive class instance misclassification. अगर किसी भी positive class का instance अगर misclassify होता है negative class के लिए, negative class को, तो फिर हम ये learning rule use करते हैं. And we know what is the learning rule that we will use for negative class instance misclassification. So simply यहाँ पे क्या आएगा? I'll just write it here. This loop again we use if this we can take in 1, and again we can take it here. If yi dot beta dot xi, if it is greater than 0, okay, greater than 0, then it detects the misclassification, of instance xi, and we simply update the weight. Beta dash is equal to beta minus n into yi into xi. Okay, so this is the simple learning rule that we are going to use, and again we'll set this converge to false and we'll come out of this loop. So any problem in algorithm? That's it from the perceptron learning algorithm. So this converge this variable will play an important role in this perceptron learning algorithm, and as well as this updating the weight of the coefficient vector beta. These are the two important points. We'll see what is the effect of learning parameter. Let's say that these are the three different decision boundaries that we have drawn. Okay, so let's say that the first decision boundary is indicated with this green color. Let me take a pen so that I can highlight it. Okay, so this is my first decision boundary. Okay, and what I did is I have introduced a new point here at this point, and then I will come to know that using this first decision boundary, this instance will be misclassified to positive class, right? So what we will do, we will update the weight vector and we take the value of this learning parameter as 0.2. So what we get is this second classifier, which is indicated with red line. Now we can sorry, I just take this highlighter back. Let me take a eraser, and better I will take the pen to explain this. Okay, so this is my first classifier, okay, which is indicated with this red line. Now everything is perfect. It correctly classifies this bunch of instances and this bunch of instances to the negative class and this bunch of instances to positive class. But if I introduce this point, then this first classifier will classify this instance to the negative class. Okay, if I consider this decision boundary. Okay, then we are updating the weight vector beta using the learning rule, where the value of eta that we have considered is 0.2, and after updating the weight vector we get the second decision boundary, that is this red line. Now this red line, again I will go back and I will take a eraser. Now this red line will correctly classify this point, this positive instance, to the positive class. But if I introduce new negative instance at this point, then this decision boundary will misclassify this instance to the positive class. Well, then again we'll update the weight vector, and what we get, so the value of, while updating the weight vector, we are keeping the value of our eta, that is the learning parameter, to 0.2, and then we get the third decision boundary. This is indicated with the purple color, and now this decision boundary will correctly classify this instance as well as this instance. Well, now for this value, for this lower value of eta, we can have three different classifiers. Now let us say that, or let us assume that we have increased this value of eta to 0.5. And when I increase the value of eta to 0.5, then I will have a better classifier which classifies these 2 points correctly. Okay, so after at the first iteration, when we encounter that this point is misclassified by this green color line, this first decision boundary, we update our weight vector by keeping the value of eta to 0.5, and what we get is the second decision boundary, and this second decision boundary will perfectly classify this newly introduced instance to the negative class. In earlier case, we have drawn three different decision boundaries with this lower learning parameter rate, and with the higher learning parameter rate we have got only two decision boundaries. Okay, so this means that it is ideally better idea, or the ideal value of the eta should always be higher. Okay, so that there will be a correct classification, or we get the appropriate decision boundary that performs the classification of newly introduced instances. So that's it from today's presentation. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Otherwise, we will stop. We are running 5 minutes late. Any doubt? Any doubt? Okay. So if you don't mind, I will give you an example. Now, I'm asking this question in the context of multi-class classification. Okay. So before that, if you have any doubt with respect to this perceptron learning, I will take it in 1 minute and then I will stop. And I will give you this example as an exercise and I will tell you the answers in the next session. So any doubt? Any doubt? Simran Upasni? Riddhi Nahar? Riddhi, unmute your mic. No questions? Renuka Wagh? Revti Pekhale? Riddhi Nahar? Riddhi Tarwani? Nobody is responding. I think you don't have doubts. Is it like that? Riddhi Tarwani, unmute your mic. Akash Devde. Akash, unmute your mic.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
Rishikesh Davalkar. Rishikesh, unmute your mic. Vedant Pamre. Vedant, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any question, Vedant?
No, sir. After an example also, it will be much more clear.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, thank you, friends, for patiently listening and interacting during this session. So now it's time to give you the